So when identify that your son is having some difficulty, or maybe there's something amiss.
He was not responding to speech, or exactly not speech, I would say, for name calling. No, he never used to give eye contact.
Your son is now doing PhD in mathematics.
Yes, he gives tutorial lectures to first year engineering students. He did his dual degree, bachelor's and master's from ISER Pune. Proudly, I would like to add on is all his expenses or total expenses are managed on his own scholarship.
The daughter is not able to hear, but you didn't stop speaking. The son was not able to talk, but you didn't stop your process. You kept it on, and now we can see the results.
So when he was small, so what I did is I started repeating him. So my Masi, she labeled this as a monkey therapy.
This monkey therapy that man's talking about is the crux of developing healthy habits in kids. Not just kids with neurodivergent needs or not just kids with autism, but in general with all the kids.
So I want to know all about my cute little Mimo. So welcome both of you to the Dolly Show today. I am truly, truly so happy that you two are here, and definitely a new discussion that we're going to have today, and very exciting for sure. So yes, welcome Priya, and Priya is our professional and she's a nutritionist. So thank you for being with us. Also, if I would say into
Health tech.
health tech. So we will delve and discuss deep about it for sure. And we have another superstar with us who is Archana ma'am, our so-called and very publicly acclaimed Hirkani. We would really love to know all from you, ma'am. We will discuss a lot of things with you as well. So both of you, a very warm welcome to the Dolly Show today.
Thank you.
So first, let's start with you. A bit about your journey, and then, ma'am, you as well.
Sure. So I started my career as a clinical nutritionist. I practiced with Hinduja Hospital for about 5 years. And then I said, I am so restricted in terms of the care that I'm passing on to people, that the lives I'm able to touch. And I had the flair for technology. Maybe I couldn't sit and code, but I did know that there are some things that are possible with technology. With that one little spark in me, I stepped out of the clinical world. And I said, okay, I want to step into the digital health world. That's how my journey began uh, with a step into health tech, uh, where I worked with the likes of weight loss apps, yoga tech apps, and then metabolic health apps. Through this, obviously, I was consulting people for nutrition. But at the same time, I was using the learnings from these consults, the insights, the concerns that these users had to develop the digital products in such a way that they can help more and more people and address the health concerns in such a way that it does truly help and it's transforming. It's not a small time change. It's a lifetime habit to be kept. So, and over the last 15 years, with so many diverse setup experience, at this moment, I am working with a neurotech company called Zuron. Uh, so that's our story, little Nemo. Yes, with our cute little Nemo. That's a story that will unfold through the discussions.
Definitely, definitely. Very fascinating. And I myself am fascinated with your health tech device, which we will definitely discuss. Ma'am, your inspiring journey directly from the horse's mouth.
So, hello everyone. I'm Archana Patil. I introduce myself as a blessed mother of two special needs children. Children for me are and for the whole year adults now. But yes, I am a normal mother. People call me special mom, but I am just a mother to my children. That's it. And the achievements come later. So I am even a non-practicing DLD pathologist, but choosing my children's comfort was first for me, so I opted that.
Fab. So tell me, when exactly your son is on the spectrum and your daughter is has hearing impairment. So when did you identify that your son is having some difficulty, or maybe there's something amiss?
So it was like I always say, my daughter is a blessing in disguise. She's the elder one. So she's hearing impaired, and we had planned only for, after knowing her diagnosis, we had planned only for a single child, but I was taunted a lot in the family for having a special need child, and then I said no, I have to give it second chance. And my husband didn't know that I was pregnant for 3 months. Okay. And I had a medical background, so I knew that after 3 months, abortion is a bit risky. So after 3 months, I told my husband that I'm pregnant. So this way, my son was born, and no doubt I had difficulties during his pregnancy also. But yes, things went on, and when he was around 1 year old, he was able to hear. So when he was born, I would share a small incident which happened is like, um he was born, and when I was shifted to the general room,
Your room.
my room. So after 5-10 minutes, he was brought to the room, and I was banging a steel small dabba was lying on the table. So I was banging that on the cot, and the doctor entered. So she knew my background. So she was like, "What are you doing?" So I said, "No, I was a bit curious that is he able to hear as the elder one and not able to hear." So then she said, "Don't you even think like that. Everything is fine." And then we went on with it. His first birthday was done. But I, being a mother, I was very curious from the moment he was born. In fact, I would say before his birth, I was very much curious about certain things. But then he was not responding to speech, or exactly not speech, I would say, for name calling. No, he never used to give eye contact, but he used to like certain advertisements. So if he would hear those advertisements, he used to run to the hall from his room. So then that told me that he's able to hear. Then what is the issue? So then till that time, I had started my daughter's schooling in CSED. That's a special school in Bombay Central, Agripada. So there, then I talked with the director about the incident. So she said, "Why not we try on meeting some specialist?" So then, till that time, before meeting the specialist, we got his BERA test done, because again the background was there of my daughter. So we got his BERA done. Then again his audiology test was done. So everything, the reports were normal. So the school took the initiative. Rashmi school took the initiative, and they called Dr. Bibha Krishnamurthy to the school.
Hmm.
And there Dr. Vibha saw him, and she saw all his reports, and then she said it might be autism.
Hmm.
And 26 years back, I hardly knew A also of autism.
True.
But then always people ask me, then how did you take your second child with special needs? I said I didn't, because I was mentally prepared for it. It hardly took me an hour to overcome the situation. And Vibha, in short, had explained me about what autism is.
Hmm.
So I said, okay. So maybe I have to work little more than how parents work with normal children. So I have to work some percentage more for my children. That's it. So taking that was very helpful, and I always say I met the right people at right time. So meeting Vibha, and then in 6 months, Vibha introduced me to Mary Balua.
Hmm.
So I attended her workshop, 3 days workshop, and that totally changed me.
So inspiration.
And it was like I have told Mary also many times about it, that I was very short tempered, and Mary gave an example,
Hmm.
and that taught me patience. She gave an example, and it was not only for me, it was for the whole crowd. She told an incident which happened in her office. Some important papers were lying on the table, and her son has a fascination of tearing papers. So he picked up those papers and he tore. The person next to her started shouting at her son, Neeraj. So then Mary was calm. She was like shouting at him, will we get those papers back? And that was a spark for it.
Hmm.
How true it was. You shout at him, will those papers get joined?
No.
Then why are you wasting your energy on that child? You can use it, you can channelize that same energy, you can explain certain things to him. That these were important papers.
You should be doing it in
Yeah.
future. Yeah, and then work on the solution rather than cribbing over the spilt milk.
Exactly, but hitting or shouting at the child won't get you the papers back.
So true.
And that, I don't know, but that was a spark for me, and it changed me. And then many people, I do free counseling for parents. So many parents ask me, you say that you were short tempered, then where is that spark gone?
Hmm.
So Mary helped me to channelize my spark. And that spark I've used to help my children grow till date to the what level they are today.
Grow. They are shining superstars. Let me specify this very clearly and very proudly. To be very frank, your son is now doing PhD in mathematics and from
This Pilari Goa campus.
he's training children.
Yes, he gives tutorial lectures to first year engineering students. He's a teacher assistant there since 4 semesters.
And he's living an independent life there in Pune.
Yeah. No, he is in Goa at present.
Okay.
Earlier, he did his dual degree, bachelor's and master's from ISER Pune. And again, it is like when you go for pure science, how IIT Mumbai is on the top list, ISER Pune is on the top list. And that admission also he got because he stood first in India in KVPY scholarship.
And those understatements, you have to take them back. Oh, wow. And also your daughter.
Yeah, so my daughter is like, today she's known as world's best hearing impaired Bharatanatyam dancer.
What amazing achievements. And you yourself, Our Hirkani. What amazing, inspiring stories that.
But this boy, he was once known by a well-known doctor.
Mhm.
He was called as vegetable.
Hmm.
When we wait for a second opinion,
Hmm.
I don't want to name the doctor and the hospital, but when he saw we were waiting for 3 hours for his turn to come, he was super, super hyperactive when he was small. And when we went in the doctor's room, he said this he surely has autism, and autistic kids are born as vegetables, they live as vegetables, and they die as vegetables. Today, my vegetable is doing PhD in mathematics.
You can go back and say, this is called a nutritive vegetable. We have a nutritionist with us who can tell us what all nutrition.
And he's being staying independent from the age of 17. And proudly, I would like to add on is all his expenses or total expenses are managed on his own scholarship. Today also he gets a fellowship from the national sector.
I have no words to express this. This is truly an inspiration for the world.
From CSIR LIFT, and he stood 69 in India in open category.
Fab. This truly.
And even in JE, he is ranked 16 in the special category.
Whoa.
He has, till date, he has 30 scholarships in his camp.
This is like beyond amazing and inspiration for us as well. Our lives are stuck, and y'all, in spite of all these hindrances, y'all have just surpassed everything and outshined like truly shining stars.
Idle won't help your child and not even you.
Hmm. So true.
Even it was like when he started living independent, well, it was like after his board exams, 12th standard board exams. Before that, I would add that there is his level standard. I used to go to leave him, or later on he started going with the driver. Then we trained him to travel from Panvel to Nerul for his classes. After his board exams, there were 3 months gap was there. So his daily routine was I used to make him wash his clothes. Washing machine was there at home, but wash your clothes yourself. Wash your vessels. Everything you do on your own because life skills, I made him pro in that. And again, as I said earlier, my daughter was a blessing in disguise because sharing the same room, sharing your things that he's learned from his birth.
So how did you overcome? So you said you were going along with him for all chhodne jao, lene jao, very dependent on you. So how did that independence come into picture?
So it was like stepwise. First, it was like his father used to go to drop him till the train. He used to get in the train and then my husband used to come back. This went on for 10 to 15 days. Later on, my husband used to drop him till the station. And then he used to go. And I had asked him, when you get in the train, give a missed call. When you reach your classes, give a missed call. So that I know that you have reached safely in Nerul. And then again, it was like, when he used to come back, my husband again used to go to pick him. Because here again, being autistic, he was not open to unknown people. So catching a Rick was difficult for him. So my husband used to go to pick him. So 2 stations earlier, he used to again give a missed call. And then my husband used to start from the house and we were just 10-15 minutes away from station. So this way, you can say for 12 to 15 days it carried on. Then we changed. I used to go to drop him only till the rickshaw stand.
Okay, you took steps.
Yes, yes, yes.
Just like teaching a child how to ride a bicycle.
Exactly. So then it was like only till the rickshaw stand. This went only for a week. After week again, I cut down that. And then I used to stand, we were staying on the ground floor. I used to stand at the door and the rickshaw stand was just 2 minutes away from my place. So get in the rig, give a missed call, get in the train, give a missed call, get in the classes, give me a missed call. This way it continued. And now he travels all over India alone.
Little step
Yes.
takes you mile. We have a true
It
example.
was like last year I visited his hostel. So he booked my tickets and everything. He managed everything, even the booking in his hostel, guest house in the campus. That also he did. Everything he did for me.
See, neurotypicals and neurodivergence, these are just labels.
When he started staying in the hostel, so there, so yeah, without parents and we have no connection with our family because our family stopped long back when they got to know about our children. Our families cut the cords with us. So my children are never known to stay at someone's place or go to someone's stay back or go even visit to someone's place. So they didn't have that opportunity. So here it was like he had to stay without parents, without his Didi. So then a few days it was difficult for him. Even I used to get calls, what kind of a mother you are, you left your special need child like that. I said, it is like I am alive at that. I am alive now. So I can guide him. What after me? For instance, due to some accident or some illness, I am no more. Who will teach him? Who will guide him? And then it will be more difficult for him to walk the path. True. So after going to the hostel also daily, you can say every half an hour you used to call. I want to buy chips. I want to buy pen. I want to go to the canteen. I told him, Jatin, your mother is no more. I will not talk to you. 3 days, it was very hard for me. I used to cry at home. But I didn't let him know that I am feeling hurt. 3 days, I didn't talk with my son. 4th day, when he called up to tell me, he messaged me. He used to text me, but I used to never even reply to his text. 4th day, he said, Mom, I bought a pill. Then I picked his call because he took his own decision. And that is what I wanted. Wow. It was really tough. See, I'm getting goosebumps now. It was very tough for me, but now he's learned to take his decisions from that time. He's not dependent on me or anyone else.
It is hard for the parents, but you have to take that step. So I want to know all about my cute little Mimo.
Yes. So probably show Mimo a little later, but I'll tell you what it is and what it does. So Mimo is a device which is as small as my palm. It's something that can change your lives in ways that you can't imagine. So before I joined Zuron, I was talking to a lot of neurodivergent parents because it gave me that opportunity to know whether I really would like to be in this space. In this space, talking to people, making their lives easier, reaching out to more people and making the difference that I really would love to. So that's when I realized that there is so much that needs to be done. And probably you can't know it all. And that's the case for any child for that matter, not just neurodivergents, but even neurotypicals. But imagine that a neurotypical child is going to schools, is attending all the extracurriculars, is probably appearing to 100,000 Olympiad, going through so many things to get trained, making new connections every second the child is away, and growing the brain when asleep. With neurodivergence, this is not the case only. How many days in a week do you take the child for therapy? About 3 days, 4 days. Maximum there would be 5 days a week. How many times otherwise would you take the child to therapy? But the typical therapy session lasts about 45 minutes. And if there are multiple therapies, then that's about 2 hours. And if you have the opportunity and access to go to inclusive schools or special schools where all the needs are taken care of, it's really a bliss. It's a bliss. But otherwise, the child sitting at home, you don't know what to do. There are times when mothers say, I need a me time. I don't want to become a therapist. There are so many things that we have to come back and do at home. How do we really manage all of this? And it's not that the child's the only thing. I mean, you have other activities in your life that you need to take care of, whether it's a mother or a father. It's the same thing. There is work, there is home, there are relations apart from the child that you have to take care of. So it is taxing, and especially for those who don't really make peace, who think of this as a problem. In all of this, the idea was to make sure that you don't make it feel like a task, neither for the parent and not for the child. And you turn the time at home into a time that's stimulating the brain. The therapies are not getting replaced, mind you, with this. It's not a therapeutic tool. It's a training tool. Okay? But the idea is, if the therapy has to work, there's a lot of work that needs to go behind the child. And that work, that groundwork can be taken care by Mimo. So at this moment, we have our gym module on, which is based on body movements and mind and body connection. And this is a module which shapes up the occupational therapy needs in a big way, but it has overflowing effects on other domains of kids' development as well, whether it's behavioral development, whether it is speech development. And we've seen the changes, or whether it's musculoskeletal development for that matter. So not just kids with autistic needs, but otherwise also there are kids with cerebral palsy, Down syndrome that do get trained with Mimo, and let's make it a cakewalk. I mean, it's not a magic pill. It will not transform the lives of kids in a day or two. But this consistent training that happens in a way that the brain is getting nudged to do a little extra and to do a little extra. From there, the idea of Mimo began. And that is something that we want to make other people realize and reach as many people as possible. The adoption is the key to this. And we need to be very sure that it's not a limiting brain. And this is the basic concept that we tell parents. So you tell the child that this is a task of a therapy, and it feels like a compulsion. But when you play a game with a child, it doesn't feel like a compulsion. It's a time when you bond. And mind you, I mean, I'm saying games, but they are serious games. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
it's training you,
it's training.
it teaching you something, but in a fun way.
It's in a fun. You don't realize that you're training yourself. As a child, probably that's the last thing you are worried about.
True that.
Can this device even help the nonverbal?
Yes, in a lot of ways. So the idea is there are a lot of rejections that these kids face. And there are barely any wins in their daily lives. Whatever small wins, obviously parents are trying to celebrate. But when the child is getting the mind and body training through Mimo, these are games where you play the game with the help of your body movements. That's how the game is controlled. So now what's happening? The wins in the game, they may be small, but because the child is training over the period of say 20 to 30 minutes at a time and about 2 to 3 times a day at home, what's really happening is these small wins create a chemical reaction that acts like a precursor to improve other areas of life. So, uh, the wins are the pure motivation that a child needs. And while I'm talking, my team at this moment is already working on the speech module. So, speech module is also going to be fun.
That's superb.
To be very frank, we have heard from uh, parents and therapists that kids, they get irritated. They do sometimes not want to go for therapy because it gets monotonous. So then this is a fun way, of course, keeping that in mind that this is not a replacement, but at least uh, once the therapy is done, घर आके क्या?
So, this instead of screen time,
Exactly.
you give movement time to the child.
Which is in a way teaching you as well. Adding on to your therapies, adding on to all what you have learned.
Yes.
So tell me something, how does this model work? So is there a therapist who comes along and teaches the child, or do you all train the parent, or how does it work?
So at this moment, there are two ways that this works. We do have partner therapists and professionals who work very, very closely, not just therapists, but developmental pediatricians and all, psychiatrists as our partners who do make Nemo a part of their setup. Because to introduce something to the child directly, there are some kids who would respond, and there are some kids who would probably not respond. They respond to the introductions better when they are with the therapist. So, the introduction happens with the therapist for these kids who find slightly difficult. And through that, this is carried back home. So, there are goals that are given by the therapist and they continue to train on those goals at home.
Got it.
And there are kids who are okay for a new introduction and they manage, I mean, parents manage new introductions very well at home as well because of the willingness of the child. So for those, there is a tele rehab module that comes along with the Mimo device. So this tele rehab will help the kid with the Mimo training. At the same time, some other aspects of training that will help in better outcomes.
Even it will cut down the traveling time, right? Traveling time, see, children get disturbed
Yes.
in the travels, sometimes in the traffic. So, from the home till the therapy center, sometimes the children get drained in that traveling time only, and then reaching the therapy center, they are not ready to
Absolutely.
do whatever the therapist asks them to.
Yes. So we have some partners in tier 2 cities, but traffic and travel is a concern in tier 1 cities like Bangalore and Mumbai. So here what happens is our partners had this teleconsult open for people who are on Nemo training. And the days that they are not so okay traveling to the center, there is a teleconsult happens. The partner is himself or herself will give the consult and make sure that the therapy is continued at home. A part of the training is therapy, and then the Mimo training continues, given the goals are already with you as a parent. There are days when you can't go to therapy because you want to take a family holiday. What do you do in such times?
Correct.
Now, the issue with not going to therapy is that there is a regression. Small or big, it does happen depending on the gap that happens for therapy. Now, this can be tackled with the help of Mimo training, because Mimo is so small that you can conveniently carry it with you. You can connect it to TV in the hotel rooms, and the training can go on. And you decide when it's convenient for you, you train.
Even nowadays, the rains are like going on for months and months. So, the whatever the energy draining physical activities which children are doing in the garden, at least there's some other source at home.
So true. So true. And where are the gardens now? Where are the open spaces now? They're not there.
So that also
Malls have become
And their kids can't have any activities. So we have. So out of this, I get a one liner. So you channelized your fire for the betterment of your children. And we always talk about no screen times, no screen times. So they have channelized technology into something innovative. So we have two very big innovators today with us, channelizing uh, the negatives into the positives.
So the work behind all of this is the team's effort, and obviously Siddharth's thought behind it. I am just representing the entire team.
So if I may just go back to memory lane, how was the switch from a nutritionist into the tech world?
So the idea is that when it comes to technology, you can reach a lot more people. And when I was practicing as a nutritionist in the physical world, like one-on-one consults, I was barely touching 50 people, 60 people a day. And when you practice in person also, these consults don't go beyond this. How do you make your reach count? And there are people who are fabulous at the way they speak and they influence people. Uh, and we have many examples on the social media who people know. But then there are some people who probably may not have that
Skill.
that set of skills, or may not be so comfortable doing it. But I was one of them. You tell me sell something and I wouldn't be able to sell, even if it's my own skill. I wouldn't be able to sell. But eventually I did learn to channelize that flaw or that weakness into something where I could channelize it better. So if I want to still reach more people, how do I reach? With the help of technology. I transform my learnings into algorithms that engineers coded. Now the AI can code as well for me. And I think that in itself is very satisfactory, that the learnings from the real world go to the digital world, change the products. So there was a time when I used to work for this yoga tech company, and I'd say getting into the pose, getting out of the pose, both are important. How do you make sure that happens? And that was through the pose estimation model that the AI had introduced at that time. So there are different things that you keep learning, and this journey was so challenging that it kept me on the edge all the time. I said, no, the learning's also happening, reaching more people is also happening. So this is an impact that is beyond what I had imagined for the world and for me both.
So exactly tell me, how does Mimo function? Maybe you can just give us an example.
So this last May, we had a child who had gone into regression. He had autism. So when we met the parents, they wanted to do whatever it takes to make sure that the progress happens, because life was getting very difficult for them. In terms of the health of the child, the trunk control was not that great. Uh, the arm control was not that great. And given that the trunk control is not great, how do you really put the face across? All of that was a challenge. That affects the way you interact with people. Your social skills get affected because you're not looking at people. You're not, at least even if you're not looking at people, you're noticing them or no, we don't know, because the placement of your neck is not really manageable. So through all of this, we knew that it is causing a lot more problems than what is really visible to the eye. So they decided that they'll give it a shot with Mimo training. And today the child's trunk control is so good. I mean, not, I mean, if you have to compare, it's not normal, but he's come a long way. He's been with us for the last 3 months or so. There was a break in between of about 10-15 days for unavoidable reasons. But that was the time when the parents realized the importance of Nemo, because the child wanted to do the training and he was he was signaling that this is something which was missing. So he was looking at the television. Otherwise, the child was not very keen on looking at the television, not engaging with TV viewing per se. But because of the games, the TV introduction happened in his life. So for the child, it was only uh, television for the Mimo training. And every other time when it was a typical training time that was arriving, the child would, the body kind of shows signals, and the child would kind of signal the parents that I want to do it. So imagine a child who's just taken to therapies and probably is not showing so much of a difference because the therapy is sporadic. So to take the training from the therapy, learnings from the therapy, come back with an objective, train at home to augment the results of the therapy in such a way that the child comes and tells you that, hey, I want to do the training. Then not literally, but through his own language. Wow, that's the transformation Nemo is able to get today.
If I talk about training, you have trained your children into reading. How did you inculcate that? I mean, you have your daughter who has hearing impairment, but she can lip read. She can read the books. She is pretty much verbal, and she's communicating like a pro. So we need tips from you, ma'am.
So talking about the reading, when they were kids, so I used to play a game. We used to get newspapers at home, so I used to write down few words for Jatin, few words for Rashmi, and one newspaper page I used to hand over to Jatin, one to Rashmi, and it was like when they were 4-5 years, they were able to read certain words, and so the words known to them, I used to write down them on the board. So earlier it was like we didn't have that whiteboard, so I had a blackboard in the house. Apart from that, my house used to be a poster, a house of poster. Everything, everywhere on the walls, I used to stick papers and a big thermocol, which used to be like a notice board for me. So I used to use all these certain things. And talking about the reading, I used to make a list of words, say 3 to 4 words, not more than that. And I used to ask them, I used to mark a paragraph. So to search those words, these children had to, if they are not able even to completely read the sentence, they had to search for those words, and their eyes and fingers used to fetch those words. So this, what to say, the technique of reading started from there. Wow. And now it is like sometimes at 3 o'clock midnight I get up some for my washroom break. So I see my daughter reading. So I shout at her. So she said, "No, let me complete this book." She is that fascinated of reading. When they were small, they used to fight for newspapers once and burn the newspaper on a gas because they were fighting for that newspaper because they both wanted to read that newspaper. And my son, he has given many competitive exams. So for that, he had to read a lot. And it was like the reading thing, he had programmed himself that how much time he needs to read one page. That way, he used to complete set 200, 300 pages. According to that, he used to plan his reading. And now it is like reading one page, he can finish in 1 minute or half a minute. And I am just on third or fourth line somewhere reading. So that speed he's developed.
That happens with me too.
And again, it was like some things happened for good. So when he was admitted, so it was like one incident I forgot to share is like when my son was 7 years old, he was detected with celiac disease. He used to go to the washroom for 18 to 20 times. And we were clueless what exactly was happening. Many tests were done. And later on, when we got the biopsy done, so that time we got to know that he was on the pre-primary stage of intestinal cancer. And it was like as dehydration was happening, so he was put on IV. And the tests were going on. So since then, it was from July till December, my son was only on IV. Nothing was allowed to give through mouth because if he would eat anything, he had to run to the loo. So see the thing, this was happening. Along with that, he was super hyperactive. And to keep the child uh, silent on the bed with the IV needle was a tough thing. So the books helped me a lot in that. And that time it was like, I don't know how my son developed the what to say, the technique of reading English. Because both the children are studied from Marathi medium. But today I am a comment person. But he reads very fast, and the way he starts speaking, his speed of speaking English. Marathi is on a normal pace. But when he speaks English, he speaks very fast. That is what I say, his brain functions when it comes to English. His brain functions speedy because he's read many English books. And this thing he's developed on his own. I've never taught him. So this is about our reading. And his celiac disease and reading. So I always say, even there are bad days, try to search the good in it.
So the idea is that when your brain gets to learn something new, the neural connections that happen in your brain are far more in terms of numbers, not comparable when you're doing the same robotic routine things. So probably reading Marathi for them was a routine thing. When they were reading English, uh, a new language was happening, uh, new stories were happening. So obviously there was uh, an exponential growth in terms of the neural connections that were happening.
My daughter, she knows English only for texting and all. She can understand because she can't hear. So she's flowing reading subtitles. I can't read subtitles in that speed,
Yeah.
but she reads it.
Me too.
She reads it. So, but my son, and she knows Marathi. Other than that, not much she knows about languages. But my son, he knows Marathi, Hindi, English, Sanskrit, and French.
Also, we do know for a fact that Jatin was non-verbal. So how did the magic happen? And he's so very verbal now.
So Jatin was non-verbal till the age of 4.
Hmm.
Later on, it started developing. His speech started developing slowly.
Hmm.
But it was like he, even if he was not reproducing speech, I did stop talking to him or teaching anything to him because his brain was there to register everything.
So true.
And the language was registered in his mind. He was not able only to reproduce it. But as it started, it hardly took a few months to develop the whole speech. And he started with some children just start with words. He started with whole sentence.
Backlog covered.
Yes. So that registered speech or registered talk. Again, Rashmi was a help because conversation in between them
Hmm.
and Rashmi being hearing impaired, Rashmi doesn't know sign language. She lip reads and she talks. No doubt her speech is not as clear as us, but she communicates as a normal.
Perfectly. Yeah.
She didn't want to wait for response. See the beauty of the situation. Let me highlight this. It's a beautiful story that ma'am is sharing. Um, she couldn't probably hear. He didn't talk, so she couldn't lip read.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to her whether he spoke back or no. She continued speaking because she could talk. So his training happened.
A deep thought can go into this for sure.
And when he is listening to people, his entire focus is on listening because he's not thinking, what will I say to this person? How will I react? All of these are complications of the real world conversations. So, in his time when he was not able to speak, he was completely focused on developing the language through listening. That's a bliss for him.
Just 2 incidents I'll share. So when he was small, it was like he used to babble, and that too, the babbling was not as normal children. It was the do and
Hmm.
so what I did is I started repeating him,
Hmm.
and then I wanted him to repeat me. So my Masi, she labeled this as monkey therapy.
Today's innovation to the max episode.
Yes. I again it was like when starting you can say for few days it was only on words. We had been to the supermarket. His dad was holding him, so he had seen Domex on this advertisement on TV. So in that supermarket, because he was very hyperactive, so one had to take care of him. So his dad at least used to hold his hand, or we used to carry him for any hassle.
Mhm.
So he saw that and shouted in the market, Domex. So then I could understand that yes, things are getting registered. Second, and there again, as he developed, maybe he must be in his first standard or like that. So, mm, On his father's table, there was a card of a lawyer, and it was like BCom LLB. This boy read as a B.com because websites were starting.
.com.
So he used to, when his father used to work on the computer, he used to sit on his father's lap. So he used to see all those website names. So he read BCom as B.com.
So registering was happening. Fantastic. I mean, this was a very good tip that if, suppose, the daughter is not able to hear, but you didn't stop speaking, the son was not able to talk, but you didn't stop your process. You kept it on, and now we can see the results. Fabulous. An amazing tip that can really change a lot of lives.
This monkey therapy that man's talking about is the crux of developing healthy habits in kids. Not just kids with neurodivergent needs or not just kids with autism, but in general with all the kids. Because kids basically mimic everything that you do. And they will mimic in the most unexpected way, in the most unexpected time.
True.
Okay, so you want them to mimic good things. For them to mimic good things, you need to do good things.
Very true.
So it's not that you feed the child healthy because he has autism or if he has some special needs, you need to take care of their nutrition while the parents are sitting and eating chips.
True. Right.
Start things from you to make your child learn.
You can't expect a child to gobble down salad like it's another delicacy if you're only eating chips, right?
So true.
So it has to happen at home. And there are so many times that we tell parents that if you are making something different for the child and you are eating something different,
It's all wrong.
it's not going to work.
Definitely.
It's not very too loud when we are talking about this. Yeah, many parents talk about screen time. Are the mother and father without the mobile?
Exactly.
How can you stop your child from screen time then?
You just you make excuses that I'm doing my office work. For the child, there's no difference. You are on the phone. That simply means you are using your screen time.
Exactly. The child doesn't understand. Why? Again, this is there because I had a habit from my college time. I never use makeup other than my lipstick. I still continue the same. I wear my lipstick and I'm very comfortable with that. But I didn't want that habit, Rashmi, to develop with that habit. So for 10 years, I never wore lipstick. But one day I saw her only putting her lipstick, and then when she started dancing, I said no. Now she has to. Well, occasionally. So then occasionally I started using. So it was then. But for 10 years, I would say I stopped using lipstick because I didn't want her to develop that habit at early age.
So, lipstick reminds me of an incident. This is when I was studying for my graduation. I used to stay at the SNDT hostel. And one of my hostel friends, she used to teach at the SNDT special school in the Juhu campus. So every day she would, get ready and then put bright lipstick, reds and pinks. And we never go like this to college. She was pursuing her bachelor's in special education and also teaching the kids at the special school at that time. So for us, it was a discovery then that when kids look at bright colors, the kids with special needs, and they look at the lips when we are talking, the way we modulate the words, that's how they learn better. That's how their speech becomes better.
Yeah, this reminds me the children's early days.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to teach Rashmi to watch my lips for lip reading.
Mm-hmm.
So what the director of our school had suggested us, make a frame of cardboard with black color.
Mm.
So it gets whatever the child visualizes, it's get intact in that frame. And that helped me more to teach Rashmi lip reading. And again, that same frame helped me while working with Jatin to get eye contact.
Concentrate.
Yes.